Right, seeing that we have a quorum, and it is now 6:04, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Before we do a roll call, I want to welcome Bob Blair as a fully designated member of the Historic Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
Glad to participate.
So said at the beginning of the meeting, let's see what happens
In the end.
well, you see, as long as you're not promising great things, because we wouldn't want to
No.
create expectations.
He's been with us before, so he's been
Right.
through a meeting.
Right, I remember him attending. So roll call,
Sandy Slavin,
Sherby Worthen.
Sam Corbett, Pat Lester,
Bob Blair?
thank you. Sherby?
Excuse me, you need to declare there is a quorum present.
I think I heard him say,
I
he
think I
said
did
at the
the
very
beginning.
beginning.
Very beginning.
You do it after all.
So Sherby sent the minutes from the July 24th meeting out. Hope everyone got a copy and got a chance to read them. And
I have reviewed the minutes as presented for July 24th and find them to be complete and accurate and recommend approval.
second. We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
So we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention.
Yes.
I don't think I had gotten an email from the land trust that they were considering an additional application. But they apparently
They backed away.
backed away.
Nancy talked to me last night, they're not ready to bring it forward.
That's what I thought
Yeah.
when I talked to her about it. I'm not surprised. So that's why we had this, discuss whether they knew, because she was thinking they may submit it.
What's the deadline?
The deadline was July 9th,
Oh, right.
and we accepted one past that date, and it's a self-imposed deadline, just so it's a convenience more for the town and the committees in the process. That we want to put a deadline on it, but it is self-imposed to a large extent. So we have before us 6 applications, which we have not yet voted on.
Mr. Chair, can I make a recommendation? We take the change being requested for the perimeter pathway Lopes Playground, take that out of order and discuss it as it is a new updated document in case there are questions so that people can go home.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. So what we have, there are multiple copies of this. So as we have on, as you'll see on this this list, Sam will give you that. This is, and Sherby.
Sherby needs it, I have one,
I got it.
Sam has one,
All right,
and here is the,
right, we have
this
that.
is the 650.
So we have, as we discussed in the last meeting with Mr. Sullivan, talking about the Lopes Playground, the separate application for Lopes Playground, which would include a perimeter pathway and a street hockey court using one of the 2 basketball courts, the one basketball court that doesn't have any rims. And the original application was made at $100,000, and during that discussion we talked about the need for increasing that. So this is the application for that increased amount from 100 to 198,700. And since we haven't had a discussion on that, Judith, can you talk about that?
Sure. Marie and I met with Ken Buckland and a woman from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts on the playground on Tuesday morning. She's the person in charge of park grants. We spent, what, an hour there, maybe something like that. We walked around the playground and she was interested in the other portion, taking the wooden structure down, that kind of thing.
Right.
So she sees that it's an entire project that we are breaking into two parts. The reason we're breaking them into two parts is because we hope that we get the park grant, and the park grant probably, don't hold us to it, but probably will be awarded before our town meeting. It is a reimbursement grant. So the town would spend the money, and as long as you have spent up to $100,000, they will issue reimbursement checks. The woman, I thought, was extremely interested in the plan, which is the perimeter. We talked about having to take the overhead light line down. I don't even know why it's there, but you can't have overhead wires. We talked a little bit about cameras, and that is not on the table after some conversations with Matt Underhill. They're just too expensive, and we can't even figure out where they would be aimed and where would the live feed be, or would it be a live feed? Because,
Are these purely for security cameras?
yeah, the playground was trashed last week, unfortunately.
Which playground?
Whoops.
Look,
It's all taken care of.
all taken care of.
Marie was out.
How bad?
It was taken care of the next day.
Wasn't up till some paint.
It was, yeah. So Marie took care of it.
Yeah.
Dave Menard
Helped.
helped. It got taken care of. It was cleaned up before the festival so that what was there wasn't visible to anybody else. And that's honestly the first time that there's ever been that kind of
First.
Yeah.
graffiti on that playground, ever. So it's a shame. Anyway, we walked around, we looked at the, where the path would go. Do you want to see the view? No, thanks. I mean, it was a really, really good meeting. I think the three of us came away thinking, oh, wow, this is great, So when we got back, Ken created some additional things on the, this is the wrong sheet, additional things on the budget, which is, and I have to do some fancy footwork in terms of creating documentation that shows that the entire project is $850 plus or minus, okay? And there's some other things that I have to do to make sure that the stuff that goes before the town meeting is accurate. One of the things is that they needed to see a pretend draft warrant article, which I wrote and then ran by Sandy because she writes them, and I just had taken her language, her standard language, and I read her the article with a lesser amount in it, obviously, but, and it has draft written on it. If you look at the top three lines, you're really talking about the other package.
Right.
The $25,000 that's in here is actually in our other budget at 30. That's the GAF funded, GAF engineering and bid package. So that 25 can come off of there, which brings it down to whatever.
Sorry, can you point it to me? I can't find it.
Not on that one, huh?
That's the only budget I have.
Here.
No.
Did you get this?
No, it's this, you not get this one?
No, I got that one.
Okay.
I asked for a budget for the $650,000, this is what I.
That's the 650.
Okay, then where's the budget for the permitting? You said it was there, but
He had put it on here. Oh, I see.
you
what you're
said,
Okay, so
you
we're-
said it
we're
was part
talking
of the
about both.
$650,000, I
This
was
is, this
looking
is
for it.
the
It is.
playground portion,
Um,
and then
You said it was
this
there for
is the
30.
perimeter.
Well, this has already been designed by GAF.
No,
Then it must be,
This is all a
I
bunch of
think
estimates.
maybe we added, it's, sorry, it's in here for 30. I know it's in here. It's not on this piece
Oh,
of
you
paper,
have
but
that
it's
one,
in here
okay.
for 30. Do you have it?
Yeah,
I can look at my
So
pen.
where it says 0 here for design.
So
you can find later.
GAF has already done a preliminary that
So
they
that's,
donated,
that's the GAF.
and they have given us a quote of $30,000 to do all of the
Oh, wait,
new requirements as well as the bid packet for the 650, which would also cover this perimeter
so
pathways.
can we just back up a second? Now I'm confused. So on this sheet,
Yep,
the design at 0,
yeah, design at 0, and then permitting, you can take the 25 out, because really, GAF is going to do the design and the permitting.
For
Okay.
free?
so,
No, it's
No.
in, it's in the
But
30,
it's
it's in the 650.
okay, so it's rolled into the 650.
Yes, so
Okay,
ignore
so-
the top 2 lines.
Okay.
Okay, and in fact, you can take 25 out of the bottom line.
Right. Yep.
So you really can take 655 out of the bottom line.
Yes,
In discuss, in.
right,
yes,
for discussion, yeah.
Yes, for discussions of the,
But this
The pathway.
presentation was for the
Yeah.
state because they
Yeah.
had to see the whole
Right.
thing. Okay. Don't ask me what LS means, because I have no idea.
Probably
sum.
single, it's probably single, one
Stands for lump sum,
Unit.
lump sum.
lump sum.
I was
Okay,
wondering what that was for.
okay. Very good, thank you so much. So what you see here is what Ken really was doing the talking as we walked around. Some picnic tables, the construction of the pathway using probably gravel underneath and then packed stone dust above because it will be handicapped accessible. He had some picnic tables in here.
Just two?
Well,
But it's like,
yeah, because there's
Well, keep in mind, there are picnic tables and benches on the $650,000 grant. I don't see a budget for them, but I don't have a count for them either.
right, and the 650, the 650 is the nuts and bolts of the project. It is the permitting, the design, the purchase of the equipment, the delivery of the equipment, the installation of the equipment. So that is all what I would say is the replacement
Okay.
of the wooden structure.
And I'm going to take you back to the first page of that 650. It talks about bench and picnic tables, it talks about storm drainage, and it talks about access and parking as part of that 650,000.
Right.
You've
And we've moved it to here.
we moved,
moved it.
because the equipment price came in at 583, and that is just a rough kind of,
Okay, so that 650 is no longer the
Skinny.
scope that is in the grant request.
It's skinny on the
It's
ground.
no longer on the grant request for the 650. You moved it over to the 100,000
because it was like,
pathway.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so the bench
Yes,
and
I'm sorry, yeah.
pathway will move over, storm drainage moved over, access and
And the
parking
parking, yeah,
moved
yeah.
over.
Because of the
So we go
cost of the
back,
equipment, yeah.
we go back to only 2 benches and tables, but that's another discussion.
this is all very
It's all
preliminary
movable.
until
Okay, but we're thinking of more.
you're thinking of more,
I mean, more than two.
definitely, yes.
Well,
And benches and
Yeah,
Well,
it
you
seems
know-
silly to go all this way and have,
No,
So-
there's an issue with benches.
but these are the benches we're talking about, they're
They're,
like
they're,
at,
And I.
they're not memorial
and I was
benches,
strongly- Okay,
they're
I
not.
mean,
they're not
They're
things
not-
that you can carve your name in and stuff like that.
And they're made of,
Metal.
they're metal benches.
oh,
There-
yeah, those
there's
are
some
the
there.
benches that got stamped on, jumped on at Shangri-La and got bent.
Yeah.
They're metal and still got bent.
But
Okay,
that's what
sorry.
it is, it's not
We're
memorial
we're down
benches.
to furniture, 2 picnic tables. Okay, next.
So are we with the 650, right?
Or
Or are we at
are
the
you on, you're this
198?
one, yeah.
I'm back to the 198.
Okay,
So, We had to take the overhead wire down. We're not gonna be looking for cameras because Matt says there's no way.
Are we replacing, are we going underground?
No, when
Just,
we don't even know why that, I have asked about that wire for 20 years and no one has
Okay.
been able to tell me
So
why it's
just-
there.
Well,
Because it's been there, is the
well,
answer.
part of the thing is we don't want, we don't want lights there because
night.
our parks are all closed from sunset to
Right.
sunrise. So
Right.
why invite them into overhead lights to play
And it's
I
on
just
basketball?
all
wanted
the
to know
time,
what,
right? Aren't
what
the
is it
lights on?
attached to?
There's a pole with
There's
a
a pole.
light, yeah.
I know, but is it used for anything?
Yeah.
So you're just taking it up, okay?
Yeah, to light the basketball court
courts
after
at
dark.
night, which we
I-
shouldn't be doing.
We don't do,
That line might be an old fire alarm.
and I'm wondering too, because of the pump stations right there, I'm not sure, I'd have to talk to the sewer commissioners, whether it's connected with that. Oh, that's right. I don't know, because the pump station's right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's part of it.
Scott K would know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Lights
that's
replacement.
another issue there.
The plan is just to get rid of it.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So cross out security cameras, which had a 0 next to it
Right.
because we don't have any idea. The parking space is a whole lot more expensive than I would have thought, with one ADA space. When you stand in that parking lot, it's and, you know, it's not clearly defined. There's a telephone pole in the middle of it. There's some other poles sort of in the middle of it. It needs to really be realigned so it makes sense. There was a person there, parked there overnight with his boat and his big truck. So, you know, it really needs to be a
Mhm.
clearly dedicated to the playground parking lot, which it is not right
Is
now.
there gonna be signage?
There's gonna be new signage everywhere to be what I call it the onset sign design. You know, those wonderful ones when you go into the village and they're in
Right.
those wooden looking things, which I think are just really handsome.
Okay. Can we start it back up to the list? We left off at furniture, then we jumped over a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Interpretive signs, that's what you're talking about, so that people know what they're playing on, like we have at several of our playgrounds. You know,
Go ahead.
put up to the QR code and we'll talk to you.
Are we on the 198?
Yes.
Yes, we're only on 198.
Okay, that was the state. I guess, I haven't been to a lot of parks, but they have like little stations of QR codes. I've never used one in my life, but
Lukey has one,
Okay.
Oakdale has one.
Okay.
you know.
It'll be that, plus the state would like to have little stations where Leonard Lopes tell us the history of this.
Okay, no,
It's all new to
and we
me.
can all do that in-house.
I know,
Gary Buckminster does a great job with that type of stuff.
but why have
Why
them
not?
do it?
Why not?
With the state,
This woman suggested it.
it's just something else that municipal maintenance does, and it's asking,
Way too much.
how I look at this is, it's a reimbursement grant, and they gave us a lot of hope, because first of all, they let us extend another week to do this, which
Mhm,
the
okay.
deadline was July 12th. We reached 4 really good benchmarks with her. We were able to say the park was dedicated, so I felt like if we can find this out, that we're gonna get it, which to me sounded like the end of September, they're gonna pick the recipients of the grant, that it will be a no-brainer for town meeting.
So if they give us 198,000, we only use 120,000, no biggie deal.
Correct,
But we have to use at least 100,000.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I just see it
So,
as a no-brainer.
Should I mean, I'm going down and saying, okay, we want to reseal the basketball courts.
Yep.
4 backboards and rims when we only have 2 basketball courts, why are they asking for 4?
Because
For
the
each
nets
end.
are all gone,
Each
or
end.
they
Well, I thought one was going to be a different type of
That's
usage.
all up in the air too now too. I haven't talked to Derek, so I'm not sure what that
Okay,
is, and that will.
so,
So
Yeah.
the
So-
street hockey is in question.
In
Yes,
question.
so the basketball nets are in there.
Yeah.
okay, all
In
right.
question, but it's probably could be a multi-use courts like they do at
Okay.
Hammond.
$2,500 to remove a parking sign on the street.
Who said this?
That's
I
what it
haven't
says.
seen this.
Yeah.
Move existing parking sign off-street, $2,500.
Okay, so.
I can dig a hole and pull it.
So
This is all,
This was part of what the woman was suggesting. We take the big white Leonard Lopes sign and we put it next to the courts, or we put it
that
against
has
the,
to stay.
you know, it has to stay someplace. But that would be, so we don't get rid of the sign, we keep the Leonard Lopes legacy, but we create new signage that matches the whatever. I know,
That's a lot of money,
it's reimbursable.
if we get it.
If we get it,
And if we don't,
then we don't do it.
then we don't do it.
And then I get down to, okay, remove the wire. 8 parking places at $47,000, so it means preparing the parking
No,
lot,
I'm trying to get it cost.
lining the parking lot.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then I'm seeing plantings,
Yes.
She did question trees.
$35,000.
She wanted,
$50,000 for a rain garden, give me a break, no way.
she
I'm
wanted,
sorry.
she wanted trees. She was,
Well, we talked about trees along the path.
right, along the path, right. And
I'm sorry.
the rain garden came out of the blue when we were standing next to Ken and this woman. I didn't know about the rain garden.
Now, remember, this all happened 2 days ago, so
Yeah, so it's like, what?
I don't think
The town
198.
built a rain garden
But
next to the other
The
parking
town
lot.
did it. The town did it, so we're talking the town did it versus
I've
prevailing
never seen
wage.
that type of price,
I haven't either.
never.
So
Where did the price come from?
Ken
Ken,
gave us
In a
all
big
of
rush.
these numbers,
Okay.
so,
because he had to get this into the state.
yeah,
I
he had
understand.
to, he had to.
We need to understand that.
You have to understand that it was, So-
It's a liquid document.
I'm gonna have a tough time asking $198,000 for town meeting,
right?
for
With
all of this.
$100,000 reimbursable.
Or we can take,
No,
we
all of
take,
it's reimbursable, maybe.
Oh, 198.
well, you take the 25 out of the 198.
Okay, we're down to 193,700.
So this is, maybe I'm thinking of this the wrong way. Maybe, I mean, so we're gonna find out, I wanna say a good 2 or 3 weeks before town meeting. So the one article that's separated from 198, do we just say, okay, we didn't get it, and we just come back and say, well,
We'll do the 100, whatever we can do for this,
Yeah.
Could
to
we-
do the path.
so we're gonna know that, Sandy, before we go to town
I'm
meeting?
just saying, we're asking almost $900,000,
Yep.
not $850,000
I agree.
for this whole project.
I agree,
Yep.
but 200,000 possibly be reimbursable. And we'll know that before town meeting. I get it, it's
There's
a
gonna
big
be a lot
ask.
of, a big ask.
But if they know then at town meeting that
That
it's
it's gonna be
really,
coming back.
it's, the state's gonna be paying for it. I know they're gonna say that, but we're gonna know that beforehand.
Okay.
So you can pull the whole
No, you can't
article.
pull it. You
No,
can't pull it, because you're gonna have to pay for it before the state can reimburse you. So
We're
we-
gonna know, we're
I
gonna
know,
know.
no. The article has to stay. The funds have to be approved. Because we have to pay the bills before the state can reimburse us.
But we'll
Right, but
know.
we.
I know, but
yeah.
but the article has to stay.
Yeah, so you put the article in for whatever.
Knowing everybody saying, it's not gonna cost you anything at the end.
I hear what you're saying, so there would be 2 articles, one for 650.
Yeah,
And one for whatever we agree on is
Yeah.
sort of reasonable. The 650, that's coming out of our tax money, our pockets.
Yes.
Okay, and that is not reimbursable.
yes.
Okay, this 100 to 198, whatever it is 100% reimbursable, presuming we get the grant. If we don't get the grant, then in the article, the article's gonna go in and say, to see if the town will vote to
Yeah,
for blah,
okay,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
And in the
In
explanation,
the
Yeah.
motion, the motion would be to see if the town would vote to approve 100, not the 198. Because that's, the motion is different. You can always go down on a motion, you can't go up.
yes,
So,
That's doable.
but wait, answer me a question.
Yep.
If we put in a $50,000 rain garden, do we pay for it first and then the state reimburses us?
Yep.
So Thor, I must ask for the whole 190,000. Because we must pay we have to spend the money before the state can give it back to us.
Correct,
So my whole
Am I missing-
motion is $198,000, well, whatever the dollar amount.
yes.
Article and motion, in the explanation, is that we are subject to full reimbursement.
But you can change the motion on town
You're
meeting.
not listening.
Well, I
If
think,
I change the motion to 100,000, then I can only pay out 100,000.
And then we don't do the rain
and then we don't do the
something
regular.
on
If
it.
okay, here's the town meeting. Okay?
Yeah.
Here's the town meeting. Here's the warrant, and I have to have the warrant done. So the warrant's gonna say, to see if the town will vote to approve $198,000, okay? Now, we get to the town meeting. This doesn't change, it can't, okay? But the motion can be, I move to approve $100,000, blah, blah, blah.
Well, when I write the motion, when I submit this article in the second week in September, I have the same dollar amount in article and motion. And the
But
motion
no.
can be.
No, the
motion can go
motion can
down.
go,
Yeah.
Sorry,
I know you write them.
I have to, what do I do in my motion?
You write the motion, but we don't put it anyplace until we actually.
No, but I
So-
write the motion, and it's the same dollar amount that's in the article.
That's correct,
Therefore, you can, on town meeting floor, reduce the amount of the motion.
correct,
Right.
Okay, yeah, but I
Yeah.
put it in for the 198.
Yeah,
correct.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
trying to get,
No, we're all confused now.
no, we're all
We're all
on the
on the
same
same
page
line.
now.
I think we're on the same page.
we all
Yeah.
ask for all the money.
You ask
Yeah.
for all the money, and
And
what,
if we
and
are-
the first action by the floor is to request 100, not 198.
But if we don't
If we
get it.
don't get the grant.
If you don't get the grant,
If we
right,
get
right.
the grant, then it all stays, because it's all gonna be reimbursed after we spent it.
Correct,
Right,
Right, that's just a floor strategy.
yes,
That's all we're
Okay,
really
yeah,
talking about, is
okay.
So
floor strategy.
we could very well take this and nibble it down to our must-have.
right,
And it could very well be 110,000.
it could,
yeah.
yeah,
But it's me being a town citizen, I'm thinking, well, the state is gonna take some of the burden of the 650, and if they pick up the whole nut of 198, then maybe we could give back
A piece of
CPC
it.
money.
or we can
That's
get
how I
another
think.
piece of equipment.
Or.
Right,
we
you'd
could
rather
throw-
take,
These
you'd
are
rather
two
take the
separate
other grant
articles.
than
Yes,
CP.
you can't mix them,
money.
mix
No,
and
but-
match them.
No, we can't, but the cost of the playground, the 650, instead of taking the 30 out of the 650, we take it out of here. No, because it's right there, it's 25 there.
No, permitting is 25, design is 0.
Right, but those two lines are in the 650 at 30.
So we'll lose it in that, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't need them both, so
We were,
that's
we were
don't
trying to,
need them
we were
too.
trying to
Yeah.
make the town, we were trying to make the state pay for everything.
That's
right.
what we would do. Even though we're
Right,
paying for it.
and I think the thing we have to
Yeah.
remember is you won't get the other state grant unless you show that you're going to spend
Right.
all of this full
Mm-hmm.
amount.
Right, because they wanted a copy of the they wanted a copy of the 650.
Right.
And she knows, the woman from the state, knows it's a mushy number, because instead of having, one swing, we might only be able to get, instead of 3 swings, we might only be able to get 2, when the price,
Yeah.
when it comes time to really bid it out.
Right.
So I don't wanna get to the point where we're waiting too long to, get the
Okay.
money and spend the money like
I
it
think
happens.
it's all good.
I think knowing that we still have to talk about the 650, that's a totally separate,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's a package, that's a different package than this 197 package.
Yes.
Got it? Okay.
So I'm looking at the 650, play equipment only, design and permitting included,
30.
30 above that 650, and nothing else.
No, it's a six,
The 650, the benches and table went to the 100K. The storm drainage and stuff went to the 100K. The access and parking went to the 100K component. So the 650 is left with play equipment.
Installation, shipping.
Sure.
Well, that whole thing about shipping, installation, matting, all of that.
Yep,
Yeah,
Plus, it includes the 30,000 for the design and permitting. So we really have 620,000 to build the playground and all the components of that playground.
you actually have less than that because of the shipping and the, yeah,
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
for 620,000 to handle all the components of installing the play equipment.
yeah.
and you know this is, these two, I mean, we've only heard, they're very rough numbers.
Yep.
Yeah,
So can I just, so what is this, what is this cost buildup?
That's part of what we had originally in this packet that
In
you
the
got.
650,
Yeah,
the
in the
original
650.
650. So this is an estimate
No,
to
this
support the
was an-
650.
No, this was an estimate of one of the estimates we got
Right.
for the play equipment.
right.
Right,
So this is
You know,
nothing.
like,
Yeah,
This is,
right.
this, ignore this.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that as we came away from the initial meeting, we discussed it. My understanding was the 650 is effectively an estimated budget, subject to bid.
correct.
Correct,
So we're putting a cap
correct.
on the amount of a bid, that the bid cannot exceed, but the details can be all over the place. We have no
Yeah.
idea what the details look like.
Correct.
As long, but that detail does not include a parking lot. Correct?
But it,
It doesn't now because,
Because
Because
Okay.
that's in the 198.
it doesn't include storm drainage.
Right,
Because that's
yeah.
now been moved into, I'm trying to get I saw the 650 grant, you listed 5 things that it's going to contain, and we're taking 3 things out of it.
okay.
I think, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, something I didn't see in here that will be a large ticket item would be the demolition and disposal of all the debris.
municipal
Mr.
maintenance will do that for us.
That will be done in kind by the town.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
the only thing we're asking of them, because it just overwhelms.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
And the one storm drain at near the basketball
Oh, yeah, they're
courts,
gonna fix
they're
that.
gonna fix that one, there's a storm drain that is sunken.
On the one existing basketball court that's
Yes.
near the pump
Yes.
station.
Yeah.
You don't need a permit for that, do you?
The demo permit?
The town.
The town,
Tom?
yeah,
Automatically.
no,
We did.
I will
That's
tell
a
you
good-
that the town is required to get permits.
Okay.
So that means it has to go to planning,
No, they go to the building inspector.
storage drainage, you have to go to planning.
You asked about paving
Oh,
the,
no,
the
you
square
go to the
footage.
Right.
I don't know where 6,800 square feet comes from. A standard parking spot is 9 by 18. If you have 8 of them,
Don't go with this stuff, don't go with this,
no, no, no,
Size.
I'm
Yeah, I
just
know where
going
you're
by
going.
the
Yeah.
other one.
Yep,
Yeah.
That square footage is way off.
I think,
Is that Ken?
Yeah.
can I just, I think what's confusing the floor
yes, please, I am confused.
is that we have 2 proposals that they are both estimates that can only be finalized when, one, the playground has a bid.
correct.
And so we're not discussing what goes in that bid now. All we're discussing from a CPC perspective is, do we approve the cap, the 650 cap, a not to exceed number? And we're leaving it up to the town administrator, to work through the details of what that 650 can not to exceed.
I don't wanna confuse the issue any more than we have to, but does the town have to go to Concom and the planning board?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Planning,
I don't think planning, I know we
I
have to go
wasn't sure
to,
about planning.
I don't
I think
think-
if you're talking drainage, you're talking planning board.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, okay, anyway, Josh has already been brought into the loop.
right.
So Josh can make the recommendation to us.
And that, so that this situation is true for both of these bids, both the perimeter and the basketball, whatever the courts are, and the playground. That what the committee needs to determine is the 650 justified, And is the 198 justified, knowing that the 198 can change radically downward?
Right.
And maybe even the 650 could change downward. We don't really know, because we haven't gotten the bids yet. Is that fair?
Yes.
So our job is to say, our job as a committee would be to say, do we approve the cap?
Mhm.
I was hopeful, because again, the state, she made a lot of concessions for us. She was, happy that we had the, Summer Blythe, we had the, ADA component, we had the parks dedicated just to be a park, that's another, and there was
The fact that CORE has
Oh,
been
yeah,
supporting
CORE.
it all
That was-
along.
Right.
It's an environmental justice community.
Right.
So she
There were
was like-
about 87 things that added points to.
we went up
and-
higher and higher and
And the
higher.
fact that we never have applied for one,
Right.
ever.
In
is
it, yeah.
we get points for that, we
Yeah.
didn't know.
Right,
but-
we're a first timer.
Yeah,
People
and
like
their,
it.
and their max is 500,000, so she's, they're probably saying, why didn't we ask for the playground? Which, if I had known, we've tried that before, that's what I would have done.
You and I would both have to leave town, because you and I would both be insane by that time.
Another left field question. We got a lot of parking there any longer.
I'm sorry.
Parking on the field. We're gonna do all this work, trees,
And that's a
planting.
question.
And that's a question, and because
Thank you.
there is a deed restriction on the property anyway, for recreation,
Okay.
it should never,
Okay,
That will be asked on town meeting floor and it needs to be addressed.
okay.
Yep.
Because
and
it is a
I
major
agree.
income for some of these organizations that use that parking.
And charge.
It's a
Hmm?
recreation.
And charge.
And charge for it, yes.
yeah,
I
but
wish I could do that when they did the
Thank you.
fireworks.
Thank you.
I would have saved myself a lot of footwork.
Well-
So it will be, and it will be asked on the floor if is parking gonna be allowed anymore at Lopes Playground? There needs to be an answer from administration, or, because
But
you're
you
not gonna
can't
dump all
spend
this.
park benches and plantings and all and have
Thank
people run
you.
along the
yeah, I
cars.
agree.
I agree.
In my opinion, it should never have been
Well,
allowed
And
anyway.
then- That's another
Across the
topic.
street,
Right.
or is there any?
No,
Yeah,
we'll
the
have,
Heinz
we'll
is
have the
across the street.
firehouse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and
hopefully a
actually,
shuttle.
there was a crosswalk, she was impressed that there's a paved parking lot across the street. I mean, just everything that,
Crosswalk.
Good
This
point,
looks like
good
this.
points,
yeah, we were
Right.
on a roll.
yeah.
And when they said the money amount, I said, okay, I'll take whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it was-
Put one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can I make one suggestion?
Sure.
Add a bike rack.
They're
We've done-
coming.
Yep, we did it,
Good idea.
Swiss, yeah. Swiss has a couple,
They're cheap.
but
Yeah.
they're cheap, yeah.
yeah.
They're
And
they're
the-
incidental costs, though.
And Pat knows, we will fundraise still from
Yeah.
CORE, and it will augment, once we have it all, and even maintenance wise, the community sort of takes care of it, because Dave's just overwhelmed,
Right.
Dave Manette.
Fundraising
There
works
is-
better if you can be specific about what you're looking for.
Yeah. There were kids playing on the playground when we were walking around with her, and she was
Busy
like,
kids.
oh, this is great, so.
Yeah.
That helps.
But
And-
yeah, oh,
That
yeah,
helped big time.
And-
yeah,
She didn't see a trash, that's good.
No trash.
no,
We go
and
there
there
a lot.
was one gum wrapper and one can.
Yeah.
That was all,
Yeah.
and
Not too
4
bad.
cigarette butts, that was all we got.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they had picked it up the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if the conversation, we also took some of mine at Forest School's playground equipment when they got rid of it was fairly new. We put it at Lopes. We also had purchased a couple of accessible pieces of equipment too. So it'll be an ongoing community. She was big on that. How is the community involved in maintaining and
Pickets and everything.
fundraising and,
Yeah.
so
Right.
we did hit all those.
All of the
Buttons
points
you-
that she would have asked us, or did ask us about.
So I'm
We
hopeful.
have,
And if it doesn't happen?
yeah, if it doesn't happen, but I would,
It doesn't happen back to square one, we're all happy.
right,
Right, exactly.
Right, Sandy?
Mhm.
I look at it, it was just putting up collateral. You know?
Well, that there is a lot of collateral
Yep.
in that playground right now, from years past. There is a lot.
But it's also the gateway to the village, and it needs to be something other than what it is right now.
Right.
You want the whole vision in Bayview Park, September 1st, Lawrence Lynch, going right in. So that will be done by the spring, and that will be a totally ADA compliant with a new gazebo. Everything is going to be spectacular, so let's have a spectacular on the way in.
Well, no gazebo, they're not replacing, they're replacing it totally and completely, as opposed to updating it?
Correct.
Oh, maybe that's why the price went skyrocketed.
Maybe you could
Lots
take
of
it to your.
reasons, times.
The time, yeah, the time,
Mm.
every
And
6
it
months,
goes up.
yeah, right.
Don't build a house, Sandy.
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't think I have anything for the town hall and window restoration, so I'm comfortable saying goodbye.
Thank you.
All right.
Any
Thank you.
questions, just give us a ring.
Thanks.
You know where we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's fun work.
It's a lot of hard work.
Thank you.
Not worth it.
So before we move on, do we want to discuss this application? There are really two applications, but they're two budgets,
They're
two
fuzzy.
outs.
I mean, you're right, we say that you have a $650,000 cap to build us a brand-new playground. And all the components of building a brand-new playground, including shipping, installation, and the equipment, the matting and everything else.
Soup to
associated.
nuts, right.
And that includes a GAF permitting and design cost of $30,000. So that's $650. I have no problem with saying that. I do have a problem with $198. But I do.
It's potentially reverse.
Yeah, but if we don't get it, then we bring it down to something more reasonable.
Right, exactly.
So-
I think,
It's a rough order of
And
magnitude.
maybe
That's
by
good. That's
town
right.
meeting, we'll have the money in hand.
yeah, I mean, this is really
That'll help.
a future number that it won't go up. That's
You
what
wanna
we're
put-
saying.
So you wanna
No.
put in,
No.
197, 196?
Yes.
Whatever it was after taking out the 650 and the 25,000 for the
Design permit.
design.
Um,
Um,
So if we take out,
655.
it's 193,700.
Yes. That's taking out 5,000.
Taking out the 650,000 and the 25,000 for the permitting. So we take out 607, oh, no, one.
No,
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 less
no,
than
no,
that.
you look, so if,
So 670,000. Come on, Sandy, do your
No.
math. We're reducing it by 675,000. So it's 173,700? Somebody else.
28,000.
it's 100, that's 848, 700 minus 650? Is that all we're doing?
Plus the 25. We're
Plus-
reducing it by 675.
All right, let's go back to square one.
Okay, the permitting is in the big one.
Permitting is in the
650.
650.
Therefore, we're reducing this by 25,000.
Right.
We're reducing this,
The 198, 700
Goes
by
down.
25,000.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's 173,
173, 700.
right. Okay,
Okay.
all right. So I think we need a vote of the committee on that amount.
Yep.
So can we get a motion to,
What's the new number?
I make it, no, let's start with it. I make a motion that we, what's the verb I want? We're
so
gonna,
we have two grants still, they're separate, they're two separate grants. We have one for playground, which is $650.
yep,
And we have one for the field, let's just call it the field, the cumulative field is for 173,700.
okay. The motion is that we vote to support a article at fall town meeting for $650,000
Second.
for the Lopes Playground. We support submitting an article, is I think the way we should support it, is support submitting an article.
I agree. So Sam, do you second that? Yep. Any further discussion on that? If not, can we have a vote on an article, submitting an article to town meeting for $650,000 for the main playground
Fall town meeting.
at fall town meeting? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 500.
Okay, then the
We don't
next,
have Dave, are we? Okay, the five of us.
Yeah, five of us here, right.
So we don't count.
And so the second then is for a grant of $173,700 for fall town meeting to support
we'll call it pathway.
it's the pathway and field, let's combine the
Okay.
courts. So the two basketball
Let's call
courts.
it park.
It's called park, I think
Park
park.
is what?
So the motion would be support submitting an article to fall town meeting for $173,700 for the Lopes Park project.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. We have a motion and a second to accept a grant for $173,700 for the Lopes Park. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5 opposed?
But we don't
None opposed?
say anything about the reimbursement
No.
Nope.
possibilities.
That's gravy.
500, right, that's a separate action.
Yep.
We'd like to see that happen, but
It'll
not,
happen before town meeting, so we'll have everything in order.
right, exactly, not under our control. Okay, so that takes care of, let me just, a couple of things here. Where are my notes? Let me just- Okay, so that takes care of items C and E on our agenda. East Wareham Elementary School, let's go back to the top.
It's underway. They started work, looking
Yes,
good.
yes. They're looking for $400,000 for the historic preservation of the exterior of the old West Wareham School. So I'm
Whoa, east.
east.
Yeah, it says west
It's-
on here.
Oh, I know.
No, it's east, not
So
west.
let's make sure we.
Sorry,
Yeah,
East Wareham, thank you.
yeah.
That's a
Okay.
totally different school.
Yes, that's a private entity.
Yeah, that's, we don't know that now.
She would love the money.
So, yeah, that's for $400,000 out of this, to be, if approved, it would be using historic preservation reserves.
So we're not talking the funding source right now, we're just
Right.
approving.
Yeah.
So I make a motion, we support an article for fall town meeting for $400,000 for the preservation of the East Wareham School.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion?
I have a question.
Yep.
Are there any restrictions on the work itself?
We
Yes.
did tell them they would have to have historic, just, there would have to be a HPR on it,
Okay, that's standard.
yes.
Yes.
Right.
You wanna pass that down, please? This is what they submitted to us.
They're beautiful.
Yes, we told them they needed an HPR on it.
So, I'm not gonna belabor this because I'm new, but typically if we're gonna use public funds, we would have some kind of standards applied, like Secretary of Interior guidelines for preservation or some such, standards. Otherwise, they could paint it purple or use, inferior quality products or whatever.
So the question is, do we have comparable at the municipal level for this kind of?
I mean, we have a restriction on the building itself, that's
Yep.
for the use of it. But it doesn't do anything for how it,
Is there a
It's gonna
restriction
look.
on how the building's used?
That's what it
well,
looks like.
the restriction is, it's a preservation restriction.
Oh, how the building is used. We don't have anything that says it must be a school.
No,
Okay, so there's nothing that happens on the
no,
inside.
the
This
use
just-
is
Yep.
up to, the owner, who's the owner?
It's whoever, who submitted the grant request? Look at the first page.
South Shore Community
Yeah,
Action Council? Okay, so it's for public use presumably, otherwise we wouldn't be contemplating giving them this much money.
We can. We can if it's privately owned and we're giving the money to preserve a historic facade. We
Right.
can do that.
If it has some public use.
Isn't there a deed that says it has to be used for education?
No, well, I
There
think
was
there's something in the statute that says there has to be some space available for public use in order to get public funds.
Mm,
Well, this is public, isn't it, basically?
I'm just going back to,
CPC's rule, CPA rules, huh?
that's just what I'm remembering from down on Main Street, the building,
Webster Hall.
Webster Hall.
yes, thank you.
All right.
Well, they
The
got
upstairs,
denied.
they
Yeah.
wanted grant money, and they needed to promise that the upstairs would have
In
been
a
available
public
for public
meeting,
use.
yeah,
That's
public
the
use.
only way they would have gotten the money.
It was denied anyway.
And they
Well,
couldn't,
yeah,
even
moot
if
point.
they had said that, they wouldn't have gotten it,
Yeah,
would they?
but
It was-
no.
wow.
But it's a moot
But-
point, what's the statute
But
say?
this is a school.
Well,
so
it's
you
not
would-
anymore.
Yeah, it has,
It
isn't
will
it
be a
always
school.
been
Oh.
a school
Okay.
building?
For child, for,
It's
you
a
know that
Head
group that's
Start.
in the Cape Verdean Grove,
Oak
Oak
Grove
Grove
is,
School?
they're
That's
moving up.
moving over here,
Okay,
so it's still
Yeah.
a school for young
And it's
kids.
expanded. They
And
have
they're
more space,
expanding
they
it.
can do more with younger kids.
okay.
After school and,
I mean, it looks fine. I didn't know if there were any written restrictions on,
I've never really asked it, are there restrictions on materials?
Historic preservation,
for historic
It's-
preservation.
It's not as if it's in a historic district that
No, no, no.
requires a very
No, no, no.
strong, you know.
Yeah,
It
and,
just has to look,
Like
I
a
think-
school,
Right,
like a hotel.
it's nothing that
Like
says
it-
it has to all be wood or anything like that. Historic preservation is that they're making an attempt to restore the facade.
right.
To what it was.
No, I mean,
You
I
can't
remember
make
that
it
that was
glass
the
and metal,
argument on,
yeah.
on town hall roof repair.
Yeah.
Is what, you know, that they could go beyond having a,
yeah, we don't have any
Slate or
other
th- you know.
designation on the
Right.
property for, you know, National Register or any of
No,
that
no.
stuff.
Right.
So,
okay.
So that's,
okay,
makes it easier.
I think that answers my question anyway.
Feel free to ask questions, believe me.
Yeah, because
If you're new, ask them.
We'd
Yeah.
like-
I
we'd
did
like
the same
questions.
thing.
jump in the middle is hard.
So any other discussion on this application for $400,000?
We have a motion and a second?
I make a motion, we approve the $400,000.
We already made the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, we made it.
All right, with the motion and second, all those in favor of accepting this application for $400,000, say aye.
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 All opposed? 500, approval. Okay, next is Damien's Pantry.
And, excuse me, Pat, but I think they spell it with an E on their sign.
I constantly get that wrong, sorry.
Well, I
Thank
don't know if
you.
it's wrong, but that's the way they spell it.
Well, if they're spelling it that way,
I
then
think
that's
we
the
have
right,
to go
that's the
with
way the
their
application is, okay. Damien,
Amy N.
it's a fencing application, $33,800. Have any discussion on this?
I make a motion that we support submitting an article for fall town meeting for Damien's Food Pantry for
33.
$33,800. $38,800.
38 or 33?
3,800.
$800.
Second,
No,
No, it's
33,800.
$33,800.
yes.
And that's seconded? Motion second, any
I'll second it.
discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting this application for $33,800 for Damien's Pantry fencing, say approve. Say aye.
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 Are those opposed?
And
Fine.
Bob, it's for fencing and more plots,
Yes.
more food plot. It's for the outdoor garden,
Where they have raised beds.
Expanding.
raised bed, community garden, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
want more plants, more plots and fencing,
It's all good.
yes.
So the motion carries. Let's see, so the next application is from Buzzards Bay Coalition. The Weweantic Space.
Atlantic River Corridor Conservation Project.
Yep. This is, so I have a motion to
I
accept
make a
this.
motion that we support the submitting of an article for fall town meeting for $375,000 for Weweantic River projects submitted by Buzzards Bay Coalition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this?
This is an awesome project.
It's
It's
great.
an awesome
You couldn't-
project.
You
It's-
couldn't say no to this.
It's, especially given the total cost
Yep.
and what they're asking
What they already
from
did.
us.
So-
yes.
Right.
Bob, just,
Total
this
investment.
is 730 acres between Wareham and Carver, of which
And Russia.
215 acres, 730 acres in Wareham and Carver, of which 215 are in Wareham, and they're currently wooded or cranberry bogs.
So it's the upper end of the watershed.
Just, yeah, it's down by, you know where Charlotte Furnace is, where the fields are, it's the other side of the fields, between that and
What does the grant include?
The grant includes just purchasing the land with the conservation restriction. The total project is 5.8 million, and they're asking us for 375,000.
And Carver supposedly
And
the
Carver's,
same
they're
or
gonna ask Carver CPC for
comparable
like
amount.
loan of money.
And it's
It
a,
will be walking trails
It'd be open to the public.
right,
and open to
it's
the
a,
public.
it's a mixture of walking
it's a-
trails, and they will preserve some of the bogs as commercial bogs, but, it's a lot of, public
Restore to
access.
wetlands, the
As you know, I
other
wasn't impressed with their previous presentation about killing non-invasive species up by the dam.
You mean Horseshoe Pond?
Yeah. Oh, I got into this big argument with the engineer because they were trying to tell me that the half-life of glyphosate was, negligible and,
I've seen nothing in
Looked it
here about
no, this is
Yeah.
open
That's
space
different.
Yeah.
purchase. Has
Mhm.
nothing to do with that.
with the
And that
CR.
was a while ago.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? So a motion and a second to accept the application from Buzzards Bay Coalition for open space, $375,000, all who approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion is approved, 5-0-0. And then the
Town hall.
final application for consideration is the town of Wareham, historic preservation of town hall for
You
windows.
don't have, I thought they hadn't gotten together their proposal.
No, this is just for the 80,000. This is,
Oh,
the
This
si-
is
okay,
$80,000.
we're looking at
This isn't the
80,000.
windows and all
No.
that, right?
So
Okay,
we don't
sorry.
know the condition of the building, we don't know the condition of the windows, so this is an $80,000 grant to
study.
do
To study it.
For study, I'm sorry. I
engineering
misspoke.
consulting
Right,
services
this is purely a
to
study.
tell us
Tell
what
us
we have
needs to be
Thank
done.
you.
and what needs to be done, so we can come back with a better cost estimate for repairing, for restoring. We're restoring
Yeah.
the
Right.
exterior and windows, so this is just 80 for engineering consulting service.
Wow.
Makes
I
sense.
make a motion that we support submitting an article for fall town meeting for $80,000 for the town hall window and exterior engineering consulting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the application for the town of Wareham for a historic preservation study of town hall, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0-0, motion passes.
Now,
Now,
we come to the funding.
yes,
Fighting part.
so
You want to keep the
Sandy-
funding separate and each of the articles.
I'm going to, I added your this in, so, what you sent me with.
Yeah, and I gave you that with my handwritten stuff on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna pass this part out,
That's this?
that's that, right, so you have to, and, do you,
She has.
Yeah, I
we
have-
all-
I think
we all have it, okay, all right. So, Sandy, balances.
What I've done is I've gone through an estimated revenue at the end of FY '24. We've not had our final audit with the accounting department, but they have provided with me a, sorry, a report, which is called Ledger Detail, Expenditure Ledger, whatever it is. And I have reconciled, except for two places, our balances. So I know what money we've spent, I know what money we have available, and this is my recommendation for, this is my recommendation for funding for these articles we just approved to submit to town hall. What I went through is, I looked at, we have open space activity, we have historic preservation restriction, activity, and we have, that's the two we have nothing for affordable housing. And one of the things we try to do is go down to our reserves first, and then use this undesignated, which is the leftover funds that weren't used in the previous year. So I went down and I said, okay, I'm gonna take a look at the East School. It's looking for 400,000. We have in historic preservation restriction just about 900,000. So this is a good place to take the 400,000 from. By taking it from a historic preservation reserve, we have, wait a minute,
So,
yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know where some of these numbers are, anyway, we have 400,000 to use here.
From reserves.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Somebody,
yeah. Oh, I know what this, what you have here, on this sheet right here, you have balances at the bottom. These are the balances that we had at the end of FY '24.
okay,
So we had 78,600 and some odd dollars at the beginning of, end of '24. We added another 120,000 as our normal reserve set aside, 10%.
I'm sorry, how much?
We do a 10%,
10%, okay.
120,000
Yep.
into each one of our reserves. So there was enough money in the historic preservation reserve to take care of this 400,000.
Hmm.
By doing that, we have just over 507,000 left in our reserve. You don't need to, okay?
Right.
So to me, this was a good place to take down that reserve number and apply it to something that is permanent, hard deliverable type thing.
Right.
Damien's Pantry, what at the beginning of the year, what did I lose
I
my
think there's
voice?
full bottle of water. Right?
Is this your water?
That's my water.
Here, a little bit of water. Oh, there's more waters.
At the end of FY '24, we had an open space, 293,000
Yep.
of a reserve, plus we added another 120 as our FY '25 reserve. So I figured taking the $33,800 for Damien would be a good use of that reserve funds.
Okay, yeah.
Then we came along to the Buzzards Bay Coalition that wanted 375,000. Again, we had enough balance in the open space reserve to take it from that, a deliverable, a hard deliverable. It leaves us a balance of $3,900, big deal.
Right, right, that's with, so that's taking this number 292 and adding 120 to it.
Correct.
Yes,
Comes up with
Yeah.
a new balance
Yeah.
of 410,
yep, just about 412, but,
412.
so there was enough money to use our open space reserves for those two projects.
Okay,
Then I'm saying, we don't have any housing, affordable housing activity. Therefore, I'm gonna use the undesignated funds for the rest of it. At the end of '25, my best estimate is we have $2,741,102 in our undesignated.
Yep.
Leftovers wasn't for any particular reserves or anything like that, it was just not spent in the previous, not allocated in the previous years.
Nice amount of money.
So that's 2.8 million available to us.
Mhm.
So I took the rest of the projects out of that.
Yep.
The 650 for the playground, the 100,000 for the field, which will now be modified to 173, and the 80,000 for the town hall
Study.
study,
study, right.
which left us without the 73,000, which left us almost $2 million left.
Right. So do we, so that there's very low balance in the open space reserve?
Yeah.
Then do we, and this is, this does not reflect FY 2025 state funding? Or did
We don't know.
That's
So
what I'm.
that's the beginning balance.
No, that's the beginning balance, right?
Yeah,
right,
FY
right.
25.
That's my question.
We estimated that we would get a total money from our own town and the state, about 1.2 million,
Okay.
which is why we put 120,000 of 10% in each one of our
So
reserves.
we just bump up that account.
Yep.
I mean, I estimated that the state could very well give us 150,000. It's going down. Last year it gave us 287,000, which was a 27% match, which is the worst it's ever been.
Right.
So I'm looking at even lower amount this year. So I'm looking at 1.2 million income.
Right.
But when we take a look at what we put aside for our reserves, what we paid off for the debt for the town, for the Tremont Nail and Little Harbor, we have about $250,000 left over in estimated FY '25, which I'm not touching.
Right.
It's an estimated,
Right,
I don't
right.
know, I can't guarantee any money on that, so I'm looking at what we've carried forward from previous
This
years.
is all June 30th balances.
Yes.
Right.
So that's my best guess, folks, as to the way the funds will be, we have the funds to carry that.
So
These projects.
what are the two questionable areas?
The Tremont Nail debt and the Little Harbor debt. What is in this spreadsheet from them doesn't quite match my spreadsheet.
Okay,
And so it's always been a last minute clarification.
that Tremont was done this
I
year.
thought it was done.
Tremont will be done in FY '25.
Okay, I thought it was 24.
I did.
No,
too.
so, well, the bond debt, there was two type of loans taken
Okay.
out. So
Yeah.
one of it was closed, but the
Okay, we
people,
closed
One
one
on
this
the-
year, one next year.
On-
so FY '25 it will be
Environmental
the
one.
end of
Okay.
that,
Are we just paying the debt service?
Yes,
interest and principal,
Oh, and principal.
interest and principal. So
so
that,
how much are we off
And then the other,
on those two accounts? Is it substantial or just?
no, it's
Okay.
just,
and Little Harbor
It's-
is,
there is some activity there that should never have happened. The accountant is looking at it and trying to correct it, so those are, see my little tabs.
Okay,
But everything else, I have absolutely reconciled right down to the penny of what we have balances for our open space. Everything on our open project has been allocated and the funds have been set aside.
Yep.
So we're only looking at our unallocated component
Yep.
to be used for this
So-
particular town meeting.
after town meeting, we just start looking at that sheet seriously.
yeah.
Get rid of those ones.
The open balances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did, at the request of the last meeting, I did send out 2 memos to the, to Derek Sullivan on the bike path, the 200,000 for the grant request for the engineering for the bike path. I said that there's a balance of 84,000 remaining and asked him if he expects it to be closed since we finished the contract with JC Engineering. And I sent out a letter to Housing Authority for their project for Building 1. They were gonna redo all the piping under Building
Mhm.
1,
mm,
and it's not been done.
Hasn't been done yet?
No, well, my feel is that they asked for these funds in spring of 2014. There's 52,000 left. I think they found funding from someplace else and never used CPC other than in engineering.
So it had to be done by now.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
yeah.
I
10
know
years
that,
ago, right?
But I've asked
Does
them
Bob
to
know?
formally say that, Politis and Jackie, that please, are you done? What good news is that the Historical Society Schoolhouse and Great Chapel, which were done in 2015 and 2016, just approved contracts for painting. So that will be a bulk of that money on those two, so that's that activity. You know, another old one is Bryant Walking Trail, and that's me, I haven't gotten my time to make that happen. I have to come up with a management plan for that land with a land trust, and I'm working on it. But,
We've been working those trails hard.
and those
That's
trails are
great.
great.
It's great.
Oh, we took all the trash out of there, the tires,
Mm.
manicured all the trails, they're in
Yeah.
good shape.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing an a parking lot ADA compliant trail to match up to what already exists, which is a well-maintained wide trail. So, I mean, but most everything here, we're looking at, old ones to see if we can close them out.
Yep.
But we have no time frame. We've never put a time frame.
The old stuff
Okay,
didn't
well,
have that.
We will this year.
Yeah, and the new,
You can't ask somebody to complete a project in 2 years or 3
No.
years. We ask them to
If
come
it's
back
been
and
on the
they
books
need
for
to
10
keep
years,
us-
you can.
keep us up to date, yeah, like,
I
you
think-
can't retroactively do that. You never put them, you
Yeah.
never gave them a requirement at the beginning.
well, that's it, there was no requirement at the
No.
beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
So you can't
Things
say,
change.
well,
I
now
think,
we
I
have
think
a-
if we, I mean,
In the
I think
future.
there's probably good legal ground if we said you haven't had any spending activity for X
Like
period of time,
Right.
then, you know, you're not demonstrating that you're
That
you're
you still
concerned.
need it. I mean, it's what, you can go
Right.
back and say to the, Little League field.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got $5,000 left. And every once in a while, they come up saying, okay, we have a problem. The debris from the trash is coming through and we're getting, glass shards in our field. We need to redo them.
Well,
Well, they just haven't had their glass shards show up like they did several years ago. I mean, it's just so,
Shards every year.
So, you know, nicely say, you know, can we close it? If they have another problem, they can put it in another
Yep.
application in,
right.
and just clean our books up.
I think if
Put
we
in
don't
another-
do that, then there,
well,
Yeah.
we've started with the housing authority
Right.
for that building one, and we've asked for, the bike path engineering
Right.
study.
Right.
Which, the contract was for 177, I think it came in under that. So
Do we
want the
have
balance.
ability to put a time restriction on spending the funds?
We could very well. We do have a contract we ask our applicants to sign, and it asks them to come to us every 6 months and give us an update on the project.
relatively recent, so a
haven't
lot,
done that.
most of these aren't
Do not.
operating under the contract. Most of these that
They're
have-
very old.
Right, so, but those, like, for instance, if it was a building permit, if you don't have any activity on that permit, after so many months,
Like, expires.
it expires.
Mhm.
And, I mean, if you wanna consider something similar,
Yeah, I think we should, I mean, that's, we have to take that up. I think that's really valid.
could give it as
Didn't
long
we
a
do
leash
that?
as you want.
No, that
On
would
the
be
new
good.
application?
We
No,
can
we
put,
said
we
you
can put a
come to us in
5-year
6 months and
limit
tell us
on
what's
any of
happening.
these.
Yeah.
And that's-
Okay.
Okay,
I have something under 48 hours, if there's anything else in the agenda you wanna talk about.
I also have something.
Okay, you wanna go first?
Yes, I would, since the grant to Little Harbor Country Club was pretty unusual, buying a golf course, basically.
Thank God.
We did, but that was done under the presumption that the management company would take care of it, and that we would have a P&L, we would have a profit.
Mhm.
So, I think as a granting organization, we should ask for at least an annual P&L.
Well,
But
it's,
we don't get a profit, that's not.
it's
what-
one of those things
No,
that.
no, we as a committee don't,
But
but
if
we,
I,
The town.
if you look
Yeah.
at all the
Yeah.
minutes for the golf course
Yeah, what
committee,
the heck's going
there's
on?
nothing there. We
And
have
what
no
about the
idea what's going
septic
on.
system, and Mama Mary's moving,
Yeah.
and the kitchen is, you
Back
know,
and back and forth.
it's not.
Yeah, I
not
mean,
done.
we could very well ask, but should we? I mean, it's,
But
when we
don't
granted
know-
that money, did we say we wanted accounting of the financial component of the subcontractor who's running the business? Is that a good? We didn't.
Well, who's the owner?
Town of Wareham.
right,
The town of Wareham has the right to ask that.
I would
the
think
town
so.
of Wareham. So I would expect
Not
that
us.
would come from Mr. Sullivan.
Right,
It'd be nice
but
if
that's
it
all
were
I'm suggesting, is
town
that, I mean, this
update,
is a suggestion as the grant, as the
Recipient.
granting organization.
There's a person paying the interest and principal on the
Well,
loan,
exactly.
plus the, you know,
I mean, it's coming
Not
out of
with a baby.
funds allocated to us, and so we have, it's all perfectly reasonable to say, well, what's happening with this?
mhm.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
and that's just good business practice, at least have an annual, a public annual P&L.
So, do you want to, under 48 hours, discuss a motion to allow the chair to write the town administrator for a financial statement of,
There's no urgency for that, so I'll put it on the agenda,
Okay.
and let's think about it for the next meeting, and noodle on it, and then we'll talk about it in more
Good.
detail.
the next
2
thing,
weeks.
48 hours is urgent. At the last meeting, we talked about the 2010 grant that was Affordable Housing Trust,
Right.
in which in the grant it says the town to enter into an agreement. The Affordable Housing Trust sent an email to Patrick asking if we could enter into an agreement now to use the $60,000 from the 2010 town meeting. The grant, may I read it? Under 48 hours. The Wareham Affordable Housing Trust would like to enter into an agreement as required by Article 44 of the 2010 annual Fall Town Meeting to appropriate from the Community Preservation Affordable Housing Reserve Fund the sum of $60,000 to the Wareham Affordable Housing Trust as a grant. The agreement with the trust, which should include but not be limited to provisions limiting the purpose for which the funds may be spent to those consistent with the Community Preservation Act, providing for return of grant funds if not used for purpose, if used for purpose prohibited by said agreement, and in the event of such funds are used for inconsistent purposes and not returning, we will return the funds. So, the next paragraph, as of February 2020, the trust voted to fund a rental assistant program to provide affordable qualified applicants up to $1,000 per unit for rental assistance. At this time, we are negotiating with a firm to manage the administration of that grant and expect to begin funding as soon as possible. Therefore, at this time, and in anticipation of funding the rental assistant program, we would like to complete the required agreement to secure access to the authorized CPC funds.
Wasn't this the $150,000?
No.
No,
No,
This was back in 2010.
2010, okay. So the 150
It's not-
but it has a similar purpose.
The 150 says creating new grant,
Right.
new housing.
Yeah, this is the rental thing,
Yeah.
which is big, isn't it?
But,
Yeah.
it was grants in amounts to be determined
Phases.
though.
It's the
It was-
new,
it
the
was-
It was an
150.
open-ended
I
it was for
moved-
the first month's rent.
I
Right.
move that the
Yeah.
town vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund the sum of $150,000 as a grant to a Wareham Affordable Housing Trust to be used by the trust to provide for the creation and preservation of affordable housing in the town of Wareham for the benefit of low-income and moderate-income household. That's the $150,000. We're looking at trying to get an agreement from here that we agree that Affordable Housing Trust can spend the money. Because the art,
60.
For the 60,
60.
right.
And to authorize the town to enter into an agreement with the trust.
No,
Enter into what kind of agreement?
This one, that the money can be used based on CPA rules.
Right, is
CPA
that a
rules.
recurring request though?
Hmm?
Is that gonna be a recurring?
No, just for this 2010 article.
Well, they shouldn't use it if you got the money.
But the idea is that because this grant was never done, this agreement was never done, someone can say that this 60,000 is invalid and cannot be used.
and we've been trying to get them to use it for 14 years.
Yeah, and we have a use for it. And while someone is saying that we can't do it until we get an agreement, the CPC says, the trust can use it. So we're looking for agreement.
Well, they're gonna make the agreement with the town, or who's the
Yeah,
agreement?
who's
Who are the
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 two?
agreement is
parties.
that CPC is the town saying the trust can spend the money.
What about our attorney,
Well,
Bowen?
But-
seems
Yeah.
to be legitimate,
It's just an agreement, yeah.
Right, but-
Okay, CPC
What's
says
the big deal?
you can use the money for appropriate CPA activity,
Which includes the rental.
which includes rental assistance. This money would be designated for rental assistance.
Can we use that term?
Yeah,
Not leave it open-ended?
no, because it says,
There's certain things only that they can use it for.
Yeah.
Well, what they say is what they say, we can change it.
yeah, you can say very well that we, the CPC approves that trust can spend the $60,000 for rental assistance.
Is that what that says, rental assistance? I thought it said for any other use.
The article said any other use. Our request now for the agreement is for rental assistance.
Period.
Should we list 12 things they can use money for? or
No, it just says,
in
the trust
future?
voted for rental assistant program to provide $1,000 per unit.
The issue.
We're looking for the $60,000 to be doing that rental assistance. So we just need an agreement that is, CPC approves it.
Can I, so I need to get up to speed on this, because this is before my time. So they can't use the $60,000 today because,
We don't have an agreement.
and so the agreement between whom?
The town,
So the town and the housing authority,
yeah,
as two separate entities,
Yeah.
don't
Take-
have an agreement.
here, read the motion.
But I'm more concerned about what's the law here. I mean, if CPC granted, the town granted the $60,000 to the housing authority, right?
Yes, but CPC still controls the money. The trust was given the use of the funds, but not the funds.
And why does CPC control the funds?
CPC controls all the funds.
No, but if town meeting approved the $60,000 and a grant, and there was never a mechanism to actually grant them.
There was nothing to transfer the money from a CPA account to the trust account. That was never agreement. The money would still be held by CPC. No money goes to anybody.
No, I understand. They have to spend it
You
first.
have to spend it and
Right.
submit a document to be to be paid. Whether you pay a vendor or you pay the Affordable Housing Authority, no money leaves CPC.
So their issue is they never had $60,000 to spend.
It was never in their account.
Right.
It was always in the CPC account.
So they want the whole thing in their account?
No,
Okay,
can't-
they want to
know
do the
they
regular
just
rule.
want the
they
agreement to
they
be
want to say,
published.
when we submit a request for payment,
Okay,
we want CPC to say, yeah, I will pay this entity.
Okay,
Okay.
that's a very simple thing.
Yeah. So the agreement is that, yeah. the
Okay, that's
trust-
very simple.
Mhm.
If they submit so the issue is if they submit a bill,
Mhm.
however, we define what an allowable bill is for $60,000, we'll pay it.
Yes,
That's all they wanna know.
they want they want an agreement that, they want it in writing that we agree to do that. Because we have
Does
somebody.
this
Go back
committee
to
have that
town hall
authority
and
to
make
do
another-
that?
Huh?
Article?
Does this committee have the authority to,
Does it have to be a new article?
I mean, we don't have any, do we have we don't have any fiduciary responsibility because we don't actually grant funds. The town meeting grants funds. All we can do is recommend. So,
But we have the final say as to whether or not the funds are eligible. Someone can submit a bill that we say, sorry, that's out of the scope of what was approved.
So, do we just need, so the town, but the town is the bursar, the town is the one that actually holds the money. And so if they submit a bill to the town for payment, does the town come back to us and say, is this allowable?
We submit it to them. Once we sign that payment request, we are
Okay,
saying it's
okay.
eligible.
So if they,
Okay, I'm gonna
yeah.
say, Mr. Sullivan feels that article is void because that agreement was never made. Mr. Sullivan feels that money is not available to the trust because that agreement was never submitted, it was never completed.
Can't you ask the lawyer and say?
So is
what
that,
do you suggest?
is that our position? Is that the position of the committee, that there's never been an agreement, so we can't authorize its payment?
That is the position of Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah, well,
Oh, so, okay, all right.
he
So,
wasn't here.
all right.
Because we
all right.
never put this, so
All right,
I'm here,
now I get it.
I'm here
Now I
asking, I'm
understand.
here asking for an agreement
Right,
that the trust can use the funds.
okay.
Yes, we
All right.
agree.
And so the town administrator is looking for that as a vehicle so he can authorize it?
Yes,
Do we
because
have
he
to present this
believes,
to the town meeting?
Yes,
Hmm?
you said
No,
no.
because it previously was. It's already been
It's already
approved.
been approved by town meeting.
Right,
Yes.
right. This is
But-
just a
but we
mechanism to
never
release the
followed
funds.
up with the agreement
Right.
that the trust can spend the funds based on CPA guidelines.
So is this something that the chairman has to write a letter to the town administrator saying that the funds are appropriate?
Something like that. A letter to the chairman of the Affordable Housing Trust and copy Mr. Sullivan, that we agree that these funds are available for the trust to use.
So if they,
I would go a step further and say what it can be used for.
Okay, we can say rental
That's
assistance.
what
I-
and-
I
and the
agree with
other
that.
thing.
so if they, the housing trust, sends a letter to me,
You have it,
that's, okay, I'll look at it again with new eyes.
okay.
That says,
It came from Carl Schultz.
yeah, I saw him last night.
You said it last night.
Yeah, I saw him last night on the
We had a
boat.
quorum
On
last
the boat.
night.
We did just about.
That's come up a couple of times, we had a quorum.
Yes,
We had a lot of people in that boat.
We almost had
So
a,
these rental people are still waiting to get their $1,000 so they
Yes.
can move in?
they don't get the money. It's applied to their
It goes
rent.
To their rent.
And there is an organization that, there is a contract with Wingate
Mm,
and the Affordable Housing Trust
mm.
that Wingate will manage the funds and apply it to only eligible affordable individuals.
And that's all been done, but. the-
No, we can't get Mr. Sullivan to sign it.
Well, but
So-
it's been done, he won't
People are
sign it.
moving in and they're
Yeah.
looking for assistance and we can't get the contract signed because of this agreement.
Okay,
I'm in favor if we say the rental assistance.
Only for rental,
Yes,
yes.
I don't want,
No,
the administration, all that stuff, if they wanna do that, let them do it. But for rental assistance
So this agreement.
only, that would be, I would agree with that. And it'd be great, because this has been kicking
Can I
around for
keep-
14 years.
It's not right.
do you have this? This is your CC, right?
yeah.
And we can
Yeah.
write back to them what we
You can-
agreed to.
I don't have access to a printer anymore.
Oh, all right, here.
I'll find it, no, I have it in my email. I made
Okay.
sure I kept it in
Well,
my
this
inbox.
just tells me, so what I will do, I don't think I need a motion. for
What
that.
else, yeah, we need a motion and a vote.
Okay,
Then we have to ratify it at the next meeting, because this is part of 48 and not on the agenda.
right,
No.
okay,
So
so
this is
let's,
just discussions, we can
we'll
vote.
put it
What
on.
else what else is attached to it?
Oh, here, I'll give it back.
The original,
Because
the original
it's in my
210.
email. So we'll put this on,
2010 a motion from town meeting.
right, so we'll put this on the agenda for 2 weeks, and,
But if we vote on it now,
Yeah,
Yeah, we can vote now, Kathy.
We can vote now and ratify the vote in the
Keep
next
going
meeting.
for it.
Okay. and then-
That way it gives Carl a heads up
Yep.
that it's coming from,
Right, okay.
I'm gonna ask somebody else to make the motion because I am a member of the Affordable Housing Trust.
Sam, could you make the motion, please?
I make a motion that we give the chair the appropriate, give the chair the authority to write the letter to the Affordable Housing Trust, granting them the use of the $60,000 from the 2010 account that was approved at town meeting, and that it would only be used for rental assistance for applicants that are eligible. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion and a second.
Okay. Sherry, did you get it
mind
up?
reading that back? I got
One more
some-
time, she
Yeah.
was writing fast but not fast enough.
The chair, so you're writing the letter.
Yep, so, yes, so
Okay.
the chair is writing the letter.
We give him the authority to write the letter on behalf of the CPC.
To the Wareham Housing Trust.
No,
Affordable housing.
Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay,
And to be used for rental assistance only.
okay. And then
Okay,
we take it
Do
from
we
there.
have a second? Oh, you got a second. Okay, so we have a motion to be, we just have a motion, I won't repeat the motion. All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I am going to abstain because of my relationship
Right.
with the trust.
So
We'll
four.
go to 40101.
And that this goes on the agenda for next month, the next meeting
Right.
for ratification,
Yep.
ratification of the vote.
All right, do we have any other business?
I
Next meeting.
I would like on the agenda next month to talk about FY '25 finances, because I have a lot of reports I need to give you, and I need it on the agenda to discuss our finances at the end of FY '24.
and I would like to discuss grants from the past that we've been starting on. We want to go through it
Yep.
as much as we can.
And one more thing, I should have drafts of all the articles for review and discussion.
Then we're done.
Fall
Okay, so
2024.
and your- The financing that you want to discuss first.
Just FY '24 finances.
Okay.
FY '25 finance.
No, '24. We're trying to get closure from the town to close '24. We need to close '24, and I have a lot of reports, the open projects, how our admin funds are, and what we've spent on our reserves, make sure we all have the reserve balances. That's about 6 reports I do for year end.
Everything else?
No, we have nothing else.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
7:41.
All
Aye.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 500. Mission meeting is concluded.
I agree with you.
Okay, Bob, welcome.
You can stop
Thank you.
recording.
Well, that was fun.
Patrick,
We
He's
done?
heading out the
Can you
door.